I guess you're wondering what is hillbilly physics. Well, that's not surprising that you'd wonder that, because kind of seems strange. But you see, I'm a hillbilly, in case you hadn't noticed. And I live on a boat a lot. This old shack boat I've got, I enjoy it because I get to work on it so much. There's always something tore up. But back to hillbilly physics. It's about cosmology. That's not cosmetology, cosmology. Not much of that. A lot of that Big Bang stuff. Sometimes. It's about electricity. It's about gravity, radio, things like that. It's just my take on things. Learned sometimes the hard way. I remember a physics teacher once taught me about Lindsay's law. Something I knew, but I got suckered into it. Got a jolt out of it too. Lindsay's law has got to do with when you induce magnetism, a change in flux, and all them there things. I got a jolt out of it. You know, the history of science is pretty interesting. You look back on the people that invented stuff and discovered stuff, and you know, just kind of didn't know what they was doing. Old Edison, he worked a long time on a light bulb, and the last light bulbs I bought, I got them for $0.25 a piece. That's before they introduced this newfangled LED stuff. You know, there was one time when light bulbs, they made them so good, they lasted too long. So all the light bulb manufacturers got together and kind of formed a cartel where they just last so long. If you made them last longer, they didn't get to sell any. That actually happened, at least according to what I've read. You get into them old people back there. Well, you take old Archimedes, for instance. He sat down in the bathtub, and when the water started running over, he had this brilliant, I guess you'd call it revelation. It just excited him so much he jumped up out of that bathtub and took off down the street hollering, "Eureka! Eureka!" And all them Greeks that were coming up the street saw him, and they knew that Eureka meant I found it, but him running down the street with his britches off, they kind of thought maybe he had lost it. That's kind of fun stuff. You get into some serious stuff too, but all in all, it's fun if you go at it in the right way, and you don't have to be scared off of math. You don't have to be scared off don't be afraid of electricity. You just learn what you're doing. I've only been thrilled by electricity 7 or 8 times in my life. I've got a few little surprises, but I've got a few real interesting surprises too. But that's how you learn. You learn don't do that. Just like if you're a hillbilly, it don't take you long to learn you don't pee on the electric fence. One of them times when you really decide that's not for you. You take that Big Bang thing, that was kind of an answer to the steady state universe when they thought everything was just there and it wasn't moving around much, and then they found out it was, and they come up with the Big Bang, and they just started out with everything in the condensed in, everything in creation inside the head of a pen, but right before that there wasn't anything there, and it goes shooting out through there, and then they had a problem with that. Wasn't enough mass to account for things are slowing down, so they invented dark matter, which is convenient 'cause you can't detect it, you can't prove it's there, and you can't prove it ain't there. That kind of fits in there real well. They always throw in fudge factors when they need to. And since they got that that Hubble telescope out there caused them some problems. Not only because it couldn't see good. You know, I read this article back when they were planning on shooting that thing up there and talked about how precise the mirror had to be ground and polished, and they'd been working on it for months, and it was going to be perfect, and got up there and it was nearsighted or farsighted or something. So they had to send it up a pair of glasses. But they worked it out, but when it got to looking way off yonder, and that's what you do when you look into way off universe, because it takes light a while to get here. Kind of hard to comprehend that, really, because, you know, light just seems to be, you can see right over there. You might, like right here where I'm at on the lake. Right here where I am out on the lake. I see some guy over there hammering on something, and I'll see his hammer hit, and his hand raise up, and I get a ding, funk. But light's the same way. It takes a while to get from one place to the other. We just don't realize it here. So, when you look way out yonder, you're seeing way back yonder too. And that started creating some problems for that Big Bang explanation and everything. And then they sent up that new satellite, that Webb, and it's causing some more problems. So now they're kind of thinking more seriously about a different explanation and everything. It's called the plasma universe. But don't worry about that. We won't talk about that right now. I do hope you'll join in, though. We'll do some trigonometry, and that's not got anything to do with target practice. And we'll do some, I don't know, maybe some raspberry pie for dessert. You know what that is? It ain't got nothing to do with food. But I think we can make it fun if you're interested, and you can just sit back and laugh at this poor old hillbilly all you want to. I don't care. Just keep watching. Bring your friends with you. I got a first mate here on the boat that helps me out. You may have met her there in the intro. She ain't a great scientific mind, but she's got a terrific mind, like some of the people she hangs around with. Thank you, folks. Warning for you scholars out there, in case you need it. The information you pick up here, you probably don't want to include it in a dissertation or thesis. Although I've tried to have it peer reviewed, but most of my peers don't review, and a lot of them don't even read. So don't quote this stuff exactly. It's a fun thing, but you might pick up some knowledge unintentionally on both parts if you just keep trying. And us all have fun. Can we do that? We need to talk. We need to talk about, I want your opinion too. Don't get lazy on me now. What do you think about physics? Have you thought about, I know you've experienced electricity that time you got your tail in the fence. I remember that. It wasn't funny for you though, was it? Well, you reckon we ought to talk about physics and big bangs and little bangs and okay. I guess we'll just have to let it go. What do you mean you've got mud all over my clean britches? Okay. You're a pretty good pup.